Edition, we'll be having a two-part interview. First of it all, we'll be looking at why fuel smuggling persists in Nigeria. Recently, the Nigerian Customs Service said petroleum smuggling is still happening even though the government has removed the fuel subsidy. It added that smugglers continue to take petrol across Nigerian borders because of price are still lower in Nigeria than in neighboring countries. The Customs Controller General Adewale explained that petrol sells between 880 naira and 950 naira per litre in Nigeria, but in places like Cameroon, Niger Republic and Benin Republic, it can cost as high as 1,600 to 2,000 naira per litre. Additionally, this big price gap make it tempting for smugglers to keep taking fuel out of Nigeria to sell at higher price in neighboring countries. The CG of Customs Adeni noted that where fuel prices have started to fall slightly in some neighboring countries down to around 850 naira to 900 naira per litre, in Cameroon, smuggling remains profitable due to ongoing price differences between Cameroon price and Nigerian price. Well, the Nigerian Customs Service warned that the country will continue to lose valuable fuel meant for local use unless smuggling is curbed. The Nigerian Customs Service also called for support in stopping the illegal trade. However, the critical question that comes or begs for answer at this point in time is that despite the end of fuel subsidy, why does Nigeria still face the challenge of fuel smuggling? What impact does fuel smuggling have on the local fuel price in Nigeria? And how come the Nigerian Customs Service is failing to curb the menace of fuel smuggling out of the country? However, how profitable is this kind of dangerous illegal trade like fuel smuggling in Nigerian economy? And why are neighboring countries like Cameroon, Niger, Chad government are not supporting the Nigerian government in curbing illegal trade like fuel smuggling in Nigeria and other parts of West Africa? However, we also need to ask the question, how come price gap between Nigeria and its neighbors are the reason for fuel smuggling businesses? Meanwhile, the customs have said a special crackdown is now in place to reduce that losses. On the market report show today, we want to ask, why is fuel smuggling still persist? Joining me to answer some of these questions is one of that person that has been in the corridor, one of the industry players in the oil and gas sector in Nigeria, Mr. Olatide Jeremiah, joining us all the way from Lagos to be part and parcel of this discussion today. A good day to you, Mr. Olatide.
Yes, Mr. Adefolarin, thank you for having me.
All right, we are so glad to have you. We are so glad to have you join us today. And again, because this sector we are discussing today is primarily one of your main sector that you cover at PetroleumPrice.ng in Lagos. So help us out. Why is fuel smuggling still persist in Nigeria?
Okay, let me, for the benefit of our listeners and viewers, I'm going to give them a brief history of smuggling in Nigeria. First smuggling started in the 1980s, just immediately after the introduction of fuel subsidy. Because fuel subsidy and fuel smuggling are intertwined. In 1970, General Yakubu Gowon introduced subsidy. As at that time, if per liter of petrol was 6 kobo per liter, and in few years after, 1978, it grew to 15.8 kobo. So the reason behind fuel smuggling, it is the cheaper fuel in Nigeria. What the reason behind fuel subsidy is just like an economic tool to make fuel affordable to Nigerians. But neighboring countries and those that stays in the neighboring environments, those that stays close to the border, they are beginning to make advantage of the fuel subsidy by smuggling our cheap or affordable fuel to neighboring countries. So it started in 1980 and it has been ongoing ever since then, causing deep losses to the Nigerian economy.
Very interesting, and I really love your historical perspective that you are giving this discussion. But someone want to ask, I'm tempted to ask, although I'm not encouraging anybody to go into fuel smuggling, but how lucrative is this business? Although it has been regarded as an illegal business in Nigerian constitution and in Nigerian law, but how lucrative it is that people keep entering into that kind of business year in year. As really pointed out, since 1980s, Up to now, people are still doing that kind of business.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you for free that fuel smuggling is highly lucrative. If you go to those border towns, you would see those smugglers driving big cars, living in big houses, just because of fuel smuggling. And I would analyze, before the removal of subsidy, 40% of the 60 million liters of petrol that is being imported into Nigeria daily is being smuggled out of Nigeria. And you know that as when fuel was 180 per liter, 145 per liter thereabouts, our fuel was highly subsidized. So when you take 40% of it, that's 20-something million liters daily, out of the different borders, the southwestern borders, the southeastern borders, the northern borders, out of the country, it poses huge loss. And because of that, they make heavy money. Just imagine you buy 145 as at few years ago at the depot, you take it to your filling station, for example, Badagry or Seme border or Idiroko border, you take it to your filling station there, and you start selling at that time 600 per liter. So you make over 200% profit from it. So you sell 500, 400, 450 per liter. You sell to those coming in to buy, or sometimes they smuggle it out to them. You see so many jerry cans, you see heaps of jerry cans, and you see canoe. You see, Nigeria is a waterlogged country. Lagos is a waterlogged state. You have water around, so they transport it through the land and through the sea out of Nigeria. So it's something million liters daily before subsidy was removed. So when the previous administration noticed that it is just like a huge loss to the country, Buhari introduced a 50-kilometer that stations that are less than 50 kilometers close to the border should shut down. So for the first 6 months, they shut down. Initially, they shut down all stations 50 kilometers close to the border, because when you go to the border, you see thousands of stations in the bush. You see stations in just a very small environment. You see stations. What they do is that they bring the product from the depot, store it, and they transport it. They build those stations very, very close to the border, and they do all of that. So after noticing that, Buhari placed a 50% kilometer, that stations that are 50 kilometers close to the border should shut down. So the first 4 months, they did that, and it was a bit effective. Smuggling reduced. But what those smugglers did was that they now worked out an alternative and start building filling station at that 50 kilometer. That particular where it ended, they started building filling stations heavily. If you go to Idiroko, there is a place called Ogode. That Ogode is where that 50 kilometer ends. If you go to Badagry in Lagos, there is a place called Seme. That is the Krekos Badagry roundabout Seme. That is where that 50 kilometer ends. You will see chunks of filling station again. You will see stations around. They now start building filling station at that 50 kilometer, and they will now transport it again into Benin Republic. But without having an arrangement with the customs, because with that, you see customs having a kind of arrangement, a kind of booking. A particular truck is going to be booked for this particular amount. So if you have this number of keg, you are going to book for this particular amount, and at this particular time, you take in your product down to Benin. But it is still ongoing. It is still ongoing. It is very lucrative.
Exactly. I have to agree with Mr. Olatide. I have to agree with you on that angle. But let's quickly point to this question, because most of our viewers will be asking, those filling stations that are being built at 50 kilometers before the end of the border, who are the people giving them license? We need to find out that. Do you have idea of people giving them license?
Yes, naturally or legally, definitely they'll give them. NMDPRA are the ones giving them license. But because of it's not within the 50 kilometers that was banned by the previous administration, it's outside the 50 kilometer.
Yes.
They have the legal right to get licenses. But if you look at it, morally it is wrong to start giving licenses to numerous filling stations at that 50 kilometer. So we need an efficient regulatory agency to look into all of these issues. So if the customs, in collaboration with the NMDPRA, work hand in hand, sincerely, if they could work sincerely hand in hand, they will reduce fuel smuggling in Nigeria.
Definitely, they should. And for the custom, they have said they are setting up a particular special task force called the Wild Wind. But the question that will come to ordinary Nigerian mind is this: all these years, how come with all the special forces, all the special interests that the custom have been putting in place, they have not yet curbed the fuel smuggling? Is it now with the Wild Wind task force they are going to curb it? In your own view, do you see any need for any special force? But because I'm trying to look at the angle that border communities are also participants in this smuggling, we can't isolate them from the issue. So is it by force, or we having an advocacy that will carry everybody along that will help us to end this fuel smuggling?
Yes, fuel smuggling is a very big business. A very, very big business. It's a business that runs into trillions of naira in profit. So they make every profit from it. Now let me do an analysis. One of the reasons why fuel smuggling still persists is the currency difference between Nigeria and the neighboring country. Our devalued naira to the CFA is one of the major reasons I speak with you. Now, as I speak with you in Benin, a liter of fuel is 650 CFA. 650 CFA against our 1 liter of fuel, which is 950, 920, thereabouts. But the funny thing about it is that their currency is more value than ours. With 650 CFA, if we convert it to Nigerian naira, it is close to 2,000 naira or 1,800 naira thereabouts. So if they buy a liter of fuel, let's say 1,100, outside the crossing expenses, the logistics expenses from Nigeria to Benin, it gets to 1,200. They now sell at 650, and the conversion rate will give them 2,000 naira. That's they're making like 800 naira profits. Because if you convert 950 naira to their CFA, it is like 300 naira CFA. 300 CFA.
300 CFA,
so
yes.
1,000 naira to CFA is 300 CFA. So they buy per liter 1,000 naira. That is like 300 CFA, and they sell 650 CFA. So per liter they are seeing 350 CFA as profit. Because of the valued naira, the currency difference between Nigeria and Benin. So that is one of the major reasons why it is highly lucrative. Though President Tinubu feels that with removal of subsidy, it's going to put an end to smuggling. But the currency differences is where the problem lies. A liter of fuel in Nigeria for 1,000 naira, it is just like 300 CFA. So if they get a liter of fuel for 1,000 naira and they take it over, it is just as if they bought it 300 CFA and they will sell for 650 CFA. So they are making 350 CFA per liter.
Exactly.
That is a simple analysis.
Now, talking about the countries that are involved, particularly Cameroon, Benin Republic, Niger, Mali, and the rest of them, you know, the question that also comes to mind: why is it that the government of these countries are not helping Nigerian government to also curb this smuggling issue? Apart from fuel smuggling, the other part of smuggling that is happening, but we have seen a situation whereby the Nigerian government is putting effort to end this fuel smuggling, but the other part, who are members of ECOWAS like Nigeria, but they are not doing anything per se in regards to this. So what's your take on that?
Well, it is a pity that ECOWAS, they are not working very hard to legalize fuel export and fuel import.
Because
fuel smuggling is an illegal trade. And ECOWAS should fight against it. You are just enriching the few and bringing about negatives to our revenue. Because if all of these are legalized and fuel is being exported, maybe from our refineries or down the refineries, exported to bank.
Oh, we're having a network. Okay, break that.
Or Cameroon.
Okay.
Customs will generate. Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm here, sir.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Customs will generate revenue. Revenue to government. So making it illegal should be the way out. So countries in West Africa should have a solid trade policies that importation and exportation of fuel should be strengthened so as to downplay fuel smuggling, which is highly illegal and detrimental to our economy and our revenue.
Exactly. And from all indication, it seems like it is tighter border control that the government is concentrating on. With the custom come with the whirlwind operation to curb smuggling. But in your own view, as someone who have been in that sector for a while, what do you think the government can do beyond tightening our border and also putting some stringent security measures that we know? Because in Nigeria now, in terms of our security problem, we have discovered that beyond just the kinetic, we also need a non-kinetic approach to some of these issues, because smuggling is also a security issue in Nigeria.
Yes, you are right. Smuggling is a very dangerous act, and it poses danger to the economy and to our revenue. So personally, I feel that there should be price unification in West African country. If there is price unification and currency alignment, currency unification, it will definitely become a bad business. The currency difference has made smuggling a big business. Before now, the present administration removed subsidy basically because of smuggling. But our devalued naira has made smuggling a big business. If not for the devalued naira, I will tell you for free that smuggling would go down the drain. It would end just immediately. But because of the differences in our currency, our devalued naira, that's the problem. So our naira should be really worked on. There should be price unification. There should be technological approach to security in the border area. We understand that we have problem with our institution. So many of these agencies are highly corrupt, and they fall for all of this prey when it comes to settling each other to export petroleum products. So if all of these are worked on, the technological approach, the currency is unified, prices are unified, I will tell you for free that fuel smuggling will just go down the drain.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Olatide. But before I let you go, we have to go to the core of your field, talking about price of PMS in Nigeria. What is the latest price of PMS from the Depot X price that we are hearing now? What is the latest?
Yes, thank you. As of this morning, there is a huge competition between the private depots and Dangote refinery.
This will be good.
I said earlier that these are the major blocks in the down sector. And as soon as Dangote Review dropped its price few days ago to $8.35, private depots, they further reduce the price. Though they are running at loss because the landing cost as of yesterday was 818 naira, according to MEMA. And I'm sure so many importers are running at loss, but they want to make business.
Exactly.
They feel they've been around before the Dangote refinery, and Dangote, they will not allow Dangote strategy or Dangote monopolistic strategy to take them on business.
Exactly.
So anytime it drops prices in less than a week, they follow. So as I speak with you, prices are 838, 839, 840 in Lagos, Dangote and the depot. So the depots have closed runs with Dangote refinery in terms of prices. So anytime from now, Dangote refinery might be forced to drop its price further. So you will be ahead of the private depots. So as soon as they keep dropping those prices, Nigerians will be the king here because prices at the pump will keep dropping. And Nigeria will have the opportunity to buy cheap petroleum products.
I agree with you that we'll be having the opportunity to buy cheap food, but there are some outlets that are still selling. If you confront them with this price, they'll tell you that it's old stock, old stock. Why are they still keeping on to old stock?
Okay, well, you know, fuel marketers, they, especially the retail outlet owners, they feel they don't really want to, they want to build up capital. They don't want to make losses. Anytime the prices, are you getting me? The price goes up, they quickly increase their price. They want to build up capital. But anytime it goes down, they would not want to drop the price. They don't want to make loss because they feel that the interest rate is high, the capital in running the business is high. They use a whole lot of millions, over 30 million to buy a truck of petrol. And the interest rate for 30 million is very huge. So they are just patching it. So they are trying to build capital and to make sure that they remain in business. So anytime price drops, they try to still maintain that old price, sell off the old stock, and still remain in business. But in a short period of time, it is because of they don't have intense competition, just like the depot marketers. Because of the Dangote factor, they don't wait. As soon as Dangote drop price, they drop because of the competition between them. But in the retail outlets, we've not had that intense competition. Though Dangote is building up, is collaborating with MRS, Idin, Adova, Optima, and so on. So as soon as Dangote build a formidable force with lots of retail outlets, and anytime drop his price at the depot.
No, you're having another shot out in network.
Or at the Nigeria, they will be forced to review their prices.